Hello, and welcome to this video about teaching correlational studies and kinds of actions. In reference to the stepwise framework, it is most often that teachers will cover these concepts during the student's practice phase, where students are conducting RENA projects with guidance. Let's first start and discuss why it's important to engage students in primary research. It can be extremely empowering for students to generate their own data and to gain experience undertaking all the steps of the primary research process. During their secondary research, students would have identified gaps in knowledge, and then they are able to try and address these gaps while designing a correlational study. It is the hope that they will use their data from this primary research to inform their action. There are a number of concepts that are important to be taught for students to conduct more meaningful primary research. The difference between an experiment and a study, and when one can conduct an experiment versus a study, is important to cover. As well, the difference between qualitative and quantitative research, correlation versus causation, how to construct and pose good questions, how to graph data, analyze it, and come up with some conclusions toward the end. This can be done by modeling correlational study process with your class and undertaking a mini correlational study. It's a great opportunity to learn something new about each other and gain some data about your peers. Lastly, students are then asked to apply what they've just learned by undertaking primary research as part of their RENA projects in this practice phase. Teachers can be available to support, guide, and facilitate the process as needed. In this time of online learning, there are a number of online resources that can be very beneficial in conducting surveys, especially as primary research. SurveyMonkey, Poll Everywhere, Google Forms, or Instagram polls are only some examples, and it's important to look into which ones allow for easier exporting of numerical data. When students have completed their primary and secondary research and feel well informed to start undertaking an action, it is time to teach some important concepts about actions as well. First off, it's important to explain to students different types of possible actions that can be undertaken. Some of these include educating others, developing better inventions, boycotting offenders, lobbying power brokers, improving personal actions, or providing services. As different types of actions, it's also important to discuss the personal actions compared to more social actions. Likewise, it's important to look at context for application. When are certain actions more suitable to a given context? And teach about safety in relation to different actions. One way also to teach about actions is to model some sample actions. Provide examples of actions that have been undertaken, discuss which stakeholders were involved, or undertake a collective action as a class. The networking of actions is also a very important concept to cover. Especially in online learning environments, students can delve into the advantages and disadvantages of using social media as a means of action and as a way to network actions. Within the concept of networking actions, it's important to teach about ways in which to combine and grow actions and to discuss how to network to reach more influential stakeholders. Lastly, it's important to look at the effectiveness of actions. Teach how to analyze whether an action can be considered effective. Discuss the concepts of power and numbers. Discuss how we can increase the effectiveness of actions.